Hi, and welcome back to Just One More Chapter with Emily. We've been reading The Interpreter by Brooke Robinson. It's a story that follows Ravel Lee, an interpreter in London, who also goes through the process of adoption through the foster care system. There's also a mystery character who is obviously related to Elliot in some way, and she wants to extract revenge on Ravel for adopting him. So, we're on chapter 32. This should be the final video for The Interpreter. So with that, I will start. This is chapter 32 of The Interpreter. In the council building across the road, I'm about to undertake my first ever interpreting assignment with a local authority. I'm sitting in a cafe with a social worker I've just met, Doreen. Holy cow, it's 10:59, she says, throwing a tenner onto the table, and we run across the road, laughing as her shoe catches the edge of a pothole and she limps the final stretch. I've been a freelance interpreter for 3 months, and so far I've had few bookings. I've signed up with 3 different agencies, and I know there's plenty of work going around, but it isn't being offered to me. Mostly I've been doing police work. I need to take every job I can get, make connections, and build up my CV. Today's assignment is called a supervised contact session, and it's between a mother and a child. Doreen leads me to the top of the stairs, and I see that the council building is an absolute wreck. I had one job last week in illegal chambers in central London. Chairs in their boardroom were actual antiques, and in the kitchen they had a coffee machine with those capsules. You can make a flat white as good as any East London cafe, and they have a tap for chilled sparkling water, and each morning someone slices thin lemon wedges and arranges them on a plate. Doreen stalks the room and checks her watch. None of them are here yet, she says, shifting her gaze to me. You look nervous. Do I? Or is this just how you look? I laugh. Yes, I think it is. I'm joking. You'll be great. This should be straightforward. I appreciate you being here. I like that she is motherly without being patronizing. I suppose some people might say she verges on being unprofessional, but it's nice that she isn't cold. I'm also joking because I am feeling very jumpy. So you translate for me everything she said in German, everything the boy and the mother say. You shouldn't need to speak to them directly, so don't worry. She checks her watch again. Where are they? Will the mother and child just be sitting in here talking, I ask? Yes, they'll try and pretend we're not here, that's the idea. The boy, Max, is 4. They'll play with the toys, and basically we'll just sit and watch. I look at the council's toy provision on the carpet, a lumpy red ball that I doubt would even roll, and a Snakes and Ladders board game, more museum relic than functional play equipment. Doreen catches me staring at it. I know. It's what we have. I try to shake the excess electricity from my arms and legs without Doreen noticing. It's all right, because she's at the window again, her attention on the parking lot below. I think the mother's here. The child is coming separately? She nods. He's in care, and she's in recovery. The last word is a whisper. Doreen steps closer to me and speaks quietly in my ear. I'm not trying to be biased. They're from a really good family. The risk of harm is probably low. He might go back with her? She nods. Unless she gives me a reason today why she shouldn't. Doreen's eyes are still fixed on the window. The child is here too. Good, we need to get started. She adjusts the position of the plastic chairs in the room, claps her hands together, and looks right at me. Are you ready? I need the bathroom again, even though I went in the cafe 10 minutes ago. I'm too embarrassed to ask Doreen if there is time, so I hold it. I hear people climbing the stairs and adjust the sleeves of my new cheap suit, feeling like a child in dress-up. I get another booking with Doreen's local authority. I have 2 assignments at police stations in South and Southeast London and travel to Luton for a court hearing, and that is the sum total of my week. Doreen is not directly involved in the translation assignment at her local authority, but she sends a text and asks if I'd like to join her afterward for lunch. The job is simple. I work through a short stack of documents from a Hungarian child protection agency pertaining to a family who is now living in the UK. I finish the papers earlier than expected and spend a moment on Exia's website looking through available jobs for this afternoon. It comes to me so quickly. There's no telling where it was hiding or why now it decides to make itself known. Like the title of a book or film you've been trying to recall for weeks and it suddenly drops into view. Tickle. Last week's assignment with Doreen. Mummy, please don't tickle me again. That's what I'd heard 4-year-old Max say in German. to his mother, how I interpreted it for the social worker. Tickle, tickle, tickle. That's how she recorded it in her notes. But the word schlagen mean to hit, beat, or strike. I'd interpreted it as tickle. Kitzeln. Not even close. The German or the English words sound nothing alike. Schlagen is what Max said to his mother. Mummy, please don't hit me again. How is it possible that I mixed up those two words? A total catastrophic brain snap. I botched it. My first interpreting assignment for a local authority, and I've made a simple, embarrassingly basic mistake. How could I be such an idiot? I feel myself shrink to 3 feet tall. I love German. It's one of my strongest languages. Already I'm struggling to get enough work to amount to a full-time income, and then I go and do something like this. I return to my pile of Hungarian pages and my English translation. I'll go over everything once more, twice, to make sure I haven't done anything like that again. I read through my work slowly and methodically, and do not find any mistakes. Okay, I tell myself, today's job looks just fine. I did well. I'm not losing my mind. Last week was just a bad day. The local authority wanted me back today. They specifically asked for me to be assigned to this Hungarian job. They didn't catch the mistake last week, I realized. How could they? The only documentation for that session is the notes in Doreen's folder. She wrote down my English interpretation. There's no record of what the mother and child said in German. The only way my mistake would be discovered is if Max's mother looks at the report and says that she recalls her son asking her not to hit him again, and she's hardly going to do that. Doreen appears at my desk. Ready for lunch? Sure. I log out of my computer. There's an epic Thai place around the corner. I eat there about 3 times a week. I'm totally out of control. We walk to the restaurant, and I think about explaining it to her when we sit down. I'll apologize, and Doreen can correct her files. I guess it will mean she won't recommend me for further jobs, and after today, I'll probably never work with the local authority again. Will she be angry? I shouldn't have accepted this lunch invitation. It's going to be awkward after I tell her. In the Thai place, we are seated by the kitchen, close enough to watch the chefs flip heavy woks over a flame. We both order coconut juice, and they arrive quickly. After I met you last Thursday, Doreen says, my week went ballistic. My dog had to have an emergency operation after eating one of my socks. 2,000 pounds, can you believe it? What do people do if they can't afford it? She shrugs. Surrender them at shelters, I guess. Thanks for putting me forward for this Hungarian job this morning, I say. I appreciate the work. Thanks for hanging around last week. I know that contact session was massively overtime. I can't believe I have to raise this in conversation and confess to such a rudimentary mistake. There are meaty chunks of coconut in my juice, and I use the tip of the straw to spear them. I was nervous the morning of the assignment, but even so, such basic words. Hit and tickle. What's wrong with me? Then I remember something about my mother. When we were living in Vienna, she befriended a retired geography professor who agreed to lend her his collection of rare historical maps. It was a Saturday, and all day she had been poring over the precious objects, sprawled on the rug in our living room, making notes by leaning on a footstool. I was bored. I had no friends in Austria and didn't speak enough German to be able to do anything to entertain myself. The day stretched on and on. I employed strategy after strategy to try to divert my mother's attention from her work. I told her some jokes I'd heard at my international school. I performed a few funny cartwheels. Nothing succeeded. I was so jealous of those maps, envious of the scraps of 200-year-old paper could hold her attention in a way that I never could. I crouched behind her on the rug, lined my hands up under her arms, and tickled. My mother bucked involuntarily and yelled for me to stop, but I only tickled harder. Trying to shake me off, her foot kicked and swung, knocking over a nearby glass of juice. A glass which should have been well out of range of those priceless artifacts. The drink soaked through the paper of 2 of the maps. My mother screamed. She scooped them up, clinched them to her chest, and ran to the dining table where she spread them out and dabbed them with absorbent paper for hours, paying them a tenderness she'd never shown to me. Later, when she accepted that one of the maps could not be salvaged, she hit me, one firm slap across the cheek. It wasn't the slap which bothered me, it was the look in her eye. When she surveyed the full extent of the damage done to the artifacts, I saw in her face realization of exactly what her life had become. This was the moment when my mother fully understood the irrevocable situation in which she found herself, me. See how big the scar is? Doreen is showing me a picture of her dog on her phone. The creature splayed on his back, a long vertical line down his stomach. Poor thing, I say. Hey, what happened to the little boy? by the way. From the contact session last week, Max. I can't really say. She looks down and puts her phone away. Of course. I'm sorry. I know that. It's confidential. I don't tell anyone about the work I do, I promise. I shouldn't have asked her so directly. It's fine. Relax. She casts her eyes around the restaurant, presumably looking for anyone from her office. He's back with the mother. I'm not sure about her, but you can't take someone's child based on a gut feeling. Doreen reaches the end of her coconut juice and makes a gurgling sound. It's too late. I've really messed this up. The hit from the little boy was a red flag, maybe all that Doreen needed to hear in order to keep him in care. But they're not going to take him back a second time. If you have room, they do a terrific fried ice cream here, Doreen says. What I hadn't realized today. Most people who make translation errors aren't ever made aware of what they've done. I would have never asked Doreen about what happened to Max and wouldn't have known that he was back with his mother. If for some reason Doreen had mentioned it, I wouldn't have thought it had anything to do with me. The moments passed. If I tell Doreen, she'll be upset, but she probably can't do anything about it now. It's best for everyone if I pretend to be blissfully ignorant. I can do that. And besides, shouldn't a child be with their mother? Even if they hit you, you still love them. What are you doing next Saturday? Doreen asks. I'm having birthday drinks. I'm free. I'd love to come. I'm trying to build a career for myself, a life, and maybe finally make a real friend. Chapter 33. Fibers scratch my eyelids awake, tiny loops with crumbs and dust, carpet. I see the legs of the coffee table, and Elliot's stray sock lies directly in my eyeline, though I can't reach it. I'm in my living room, but the room is the top deck of an ocean liner, tossing me to one side, then to another. I'm at the mercy of a choppy sea. I must have slipped and hit my head. All of that pretend fainting has really taken effect. The black cab driver, my cell phone, how did she know which flat I was in? My arms do all the work getting me to my feet. The front door is closed, the balcony too. The flat is silent except for my racing heart. The cabbie gone. I take it one piece of furniture at a time. I let go of the coffee table only when I reach the sofa, transfer my weight to the bookcase, and then seize the wood of the bedroom door. Where is Elliot? An idea plays that you are not supposed to sleep when you've had a head injury. A concussion can take hold if you give it the chance, tempt it, and it will pull you under. I strain to keep my eyes open, but the lids are opposing magnets, made for each other. A presence in the doorframe. There he is. My heart goes slack with relief. My boy is all right. No, it's too tall for him. Not Elliot. A woman is standing there. Who are you, I say. She is long and slender. How'd you get in here? Do I know her? She looks familiar, but my brain is thick with fog. Elliot, I think, as I look down at the carpet. Elliot, as my eyes roll up toward the ceiling. I think of my son as I try to decipher the stranger in front of me. He's next door. He's with our neighbor. I need to call Gurmeet, warn them to stay away. But my phone is not here. There is a candle in a heavy glass jar, and I think it is a good idea to have this in my hand. It's the cab driver, I realize. She's come up to return the cell phone that isn't mine, and she's still here. I fall back into the bed, and the candle drops and rolls, my weapon out of reach. Her hands take hold of my ankles next, and she yanks me to the floor. Where is he? She says. I don't know what's going on. Where is he? She's shouting now. You probably don't even know, do you? Anything could be happening to him. A heavy heel of one shoe is pinning down my ankle. The world is full of beastly mothers. Everything inside of me is syrup, thick and stuck together. I cannot move, I cannot do anything, but I have to get to Elliot. I try to roll toward the door. There are only a few inches of plaster wall between me and the inside of Gurmeet's flat. I strain my ears and listen for my son. Some mothers would cut the heart out of our chest for our child, but not you. I didn't leave my phone in her car. She isn't a real black cab driver. She knew which flat I was in because she's been tracking and harassing me all this time. Elliot's mother. My words bleed out. Blood. From my skull, it rains into my eye. My head is either in terrible pain or completely numb. You brought this on yourself, you know, she said as I concede to the darkness again. Adopting. You! Rubbing my face in it. Her words invade my sleep. I want to scream, shout for help, but if Gurmeet comes out, Elliot might follow, and I'll be leaving his mother right to him. I can't shout anyway, because she is pushing a needle into my arm, containing invisible straps that hold me down. I'm his mother now, I say, but it comes out as a gurgle, and I fear that I may never see him again. I promise you, I love him with everything I have. I would do anything for him. My eyes sting. Behind each one, hundreds of tiny blades. I stop trying to speak because one of her hands is under my jaw, the other is pinching my nose. She is strong enough to close my airways, and there are only a few seconds of oxygen left. She's going to kill me, and then she's going to take Elliot. I summon everything I have. I must fight her off. I open my eyes one lid at a time and grip my teeth. Her stomach is level with my eyeline. Isn't she supposed to be pregnant? I look at her flat belly. It's almost concave. Lydia said she was heavily pregnant. She must have lost her baby. Perhaps that was the final straw for her grip on sanity, and that's why she's back to claim Elliot. I see the wrinkles by her eyes, the shadows just under her jaw. I think she's in her early 50s, at least. She wasn't pregnant recently. There is a relentless ringing in my ears, and I cannot think. I cannot get purchase on her words, but in her voice I can hear an accent. Subtle, but it's there. German. Oh, God. It can't be. Max Graf's mother's in prison. She was convicted of involuntary manslaughter. What does it feel like? Now the woman's mouth is practically inside my ear. To suffocate. I swivel my head left to right, but can't loosen her grip. Is it the lack of air that's the worst part? Her tone is genuinely curious. Or is it the panic, when you realize that there's nothing you can do? I've asked doctors. I've got second and third and fourth opinions. I had to find out. I had to know if, at that age, he would have realized what was happening. Keep resisting, I tell myself. Stay alive. She will tire out. I need to hang on. His small fists against the glass, pushing against the locked doors. The relentless sun in the sky that day. Would he have understood that death was close, that the heat in the car was about to consume him? Her fingers drop away and my chest heaves for breath. You're not going that quickly. That's just a taste. Max. He's called Johann. He was supposed to have a new life with me. A safe, beautiful life. She killed her own son. Prison, I say, because I cannot seem to form a full sentence. You're the one who should be in prison. She crouches down, her face right by mine, our cheeks touching, and she sniffs me like an animal. I'm his aunt, you stupid fool. I see her younger face in my mind's eye, from the news around the time that Max died. Melanie Graff. Apart from his mother, she's the boy's only known relative. A journalist took a photograph of her leaving coroner's court. I remember now. So thin she'd snap if you breathed on her. She wore the thickest coat I've ever seen, a metallic weave through the fabric, like a knight's shield stretched across her back. You could tell she was wealthy. She would have given Max a great life. He'd be living in her mansion right now, wearing luxury children's clothes, enjoying the finest education, endless overseas vacations afforded every opportunity, if not for me. Now Melly Graff goes to my balcony, the click of her heels absorbed into the carpet. She unlocks the door. Fresh air slaps my cheeks. What is going on next door? I told Gurmeet I'd be back to collect Elliot in 5 minutes. I've lost track of time, but that has to have been at least 20 minutes ago. My sister had only just come out of drug rehabilitation for the 3rd time. It was only a matter of when she'd start using again, and social services simply hands her son back to her, just like that. Melly clicks her fingers and I jump. There's been some kind of administrative error, I assume. They've confused Max's file with someone else's. I argued with them. I contested my mother's custody. I hired 3 lawyers. It didn't work. The local authority refused to listen to me, and it only served to antagonize my sister, who then stopped me from contacting Max at all. She is pacing back and forth between me on the floor and the balcony. She's going to throw me off. That's how she wants to kill me. Push me off so I fall 11 stories below. Then, one day, a phone call. I knew. Somehow I could tell from the second the phone began to ring what the news would be. She's going to get me out of the way, and then she's going to take Elliot. After she was arrested for murder, then my sister wanted to be in contact. She wanted money, of course. I refused, told her to use legal aid. Her solicitor apparently advised her to plead guilty so that she'd get a reduced sentence. So that's what she did, and after the conviction, she called me from prison. I didn't want to speak to her except for this one time. I wanted to let her know how happy I was that she was locked away. I hear Gurmeet's dog bark next door. Don't come in. I send a silent message to my neighbor. Don't bring Elliot here. My sister said she pleaded guilty because the lawyer told her to, but that Max's death wasn't her fault. She claimed social services was negligent. They should have never returned Max to her. She was on remand. She looked at all the reports, all the paperwork from social services, and saw something that stood out. The A transcript of a supervised contact session where Max said, "Mummy, please don't tickle me again." "That was wrong," my sister said. "He said hit that day." And I know my sister was telling the truth because she never tickled him in her life, but she is a monster and she did hit him. Melly Graff is still pacing. The ringing in my ears is beginning to subside. Through the wall shared with Gurmeet's flat, I think I can hear Elliot laugh. My sister pointed this all out to the lawyer, but I don't think he believed her. He convinced her that it was best to take full responsibility in front of the judge, to be remorseful, and get the minimal sentence. She is now waving a stack of documents in her hand, knife edge of the paper slicing clean through the air. "You changed a word," the text message. "This has always been about my mistake. Either you got the word wrong or the social worker did. So which one of you should I kill?" The wind is blowing inside, lashing my loose hair against my face. I'm going to hit the concrete and die, and I won't be there to protect Elliot. Melly Graff is walking towards me, thrusting out her phone screen where a woman appears in black and white. The room is a kitchen somewhere, and the woman is standing at an island with a bowl and a spoon in her hand. There is what looks like a plastic bag of grocery shopping on the table. It's Doreen. Where is she? The screen flicks between two images, one face on and the other is taken from behind her. There's no sound. Doreen doesn't look up. She doesn't know the cameras are there. Doreen's message from earlier. "Ravel, for years now I thought I'm being followed, watched. Not every day, but every few weeks something will happen to remind me that there's someone out there. They found me somehow, one of the netters who became obsessed with me in the news, I assume. For a while I wondered if it was you. Don't hurt Doreen, please," I say. "Who got it wrong? You or her? One of you has to die," she says, grinding the side of her phone into my forehead. "I'll do my best for Doreen, but I need to keep this woman away from my son." Or both. Killing you both is also an option. If a task is worth doing, my father always said it's worth doing thoroughly. On the phone screen, Doreen is rinsing the bowl in the sink. Her mouth is moving. She turns around. Is there someone there in the room with her? The bowl drops from her hand and shatters against the floor. "Please don't do this." Melanie Graff laughs and spins towards my balcony. Must run. While her back is turned, I get to my knees and shift my body weight to my feet, one at a time. 3 large steps and I'm at the front door. Hands outstretched, the handle in my fingers now. I pull back as a fierce blow lands on my head. The world is not completely black, but clouds of white and gray fill my eyes. The carpet grazes against my skin and my bones form a puddle. It's dragging me again, heaving and pushing me along the floor. My head bounces, prone. Now Melly is leaning over me. I watch her fiddle with the needle again. Or is it a second one? She wants to punish me for what I did to her nephew. She thinks I got away with it. And really, I did. More blood falls into my eye. My thumb smears it away. Color returns to my vision, allowing me to see her more clearly. Melly is taking the syringe apart, testing it, holding it up to the light. I wait until the last second and channel everything I have into my right foot. I kick the syringe and it breaks. "Shit," she shouts. "You stupid little bitch." She mumbles to herself while she works to fix the needle. I almost feel sorry for her. My strength is coming back. I could get to my feet again. I think I could make it to the front door. Now, go, I tell myself. Must move faster. I cannot close my eyes. I need to get Elliot. The black nothing is so delicious. It is so tempting to let it erase me and everything I've done. I know that's what I want, deep down, and what I deserve. I should yield to it. No, my son. I would cut my heart out for him. I would, just like Melly said. I imagine toothpicks propping over my eyes. I have Elliot to go to. My legs skate from under me, but I'm up and on my feet. Now, move. I turn to the doorway and see Gurmeet. Elliot is there too. What is? Gurmeet sees my wounded face, Melly, and clocks the needle in her hand. Stay back. Melly points the partially disassembled instruments at my neighbor. But Gurmeet lunges at her, pulling Melly to the floor. I'm not going to freeze, not this time. Melly is on her knees, straightening up, now rising to her feet. I reach for the heaviest object within range, the floor lamp. I hug it to my chest with both arms and lift. I'm fast, but not fast enough. Melly sees what I'm doing and kicks at my ankles. I wobble as my legs buckle. Before I hit the ground, I manage to spin, the stone lamp still clutched to my middle. I collapse onto her. There's an incredible sharp pain in my left forearm, but the lamp is weighing me down, helping me to pin her to the ground. The candle in the glass jar rolled under the coffee table. I look toward it and Gurmeet reads my gesture. She picks it up in her right hand, squeezes her eyes, and slams it against Melly's skull. Then Gurmeet drops it as though it's electrified. Oh my, she says, what have I just done? Melly is okay. She's semi-conscious but alive. I push the lamp off me and stumble to my feet. The balcony, I say. I take one of Melly's legs and indicate for Gurmeet to take the other. We use all of our strength to pull the woman outside. I close the balcony door and turn the bolt, locking Melly Graff outside. Soon enough she wakes, snarls, and bangs on the glass. Who is that? Gurmeet is asking, but I'm not listening as I spin from the balcony and lock eyes with Elliot. He is outside our flat, through the open door in the corridor, curled into a ball of shock. I drop to the floor next to him. It's fine, love, I say. Behind me I can hear Gurmeet calling the police. I hold Elliot to me, pulling him tight. I close my eyes and can imagine him slipping right inside my ribcage, safe. That lady's ill. I am trying to block Elliot's view of Melly. We're getting her some help. He looks terrified at the state of my face. It's nothing. It'll come off. See? I rub the worst of it with my shirt sleeve to demonstrate. Police are 2 minutes away, Gurmeet says. They're bringing an ambulance. I nod and stand, Elliot clinging to me. The three of us go back inside Gurmeet's flat and Elliot hugs Monday. I stand guard at the door. A few minutes later, there are sirens in the air. Gurmeet understands. I won't leave Elliot now, so she volunteers to meet the police in my flat while I stay, tensed until I hear the snap of handcuffs. You haven't tried my cookies yet, Elliot says. I follow his gaze to Gurmeet's kitchen. The squares dusted with icing sugar, resting on a metal rack. I'd love one. I find us a plate. Chapter 34. After his football game, Elliot says goodbye to Alfie, and we walk home via the market. Decide what you want for lunch, I tell him. They have pies and pastries here. We are standing in front of a pastry stall, and the air tastes of warm cinnamon and burned sugar. I think of Marius and his interrupted career. Can I help you? A woman says, after I've been staring at the danishes for quite some time. The day I took Marius for lunch, he gave me a recipe, from memory, for a Polish honey cake with plum butter. I should have written it down. I'll take one of everything, I say. At home, I get Elliot cleaned up, wiping away the streaks of mud from his legs and the bits of grass that have nestled into his hair. We eat our pies and Elliot puts aside a donut for later. Let's go out for a bit, I tell him, and see a friend of mine. Elliot and I exit the subway at Knightsbridge, but Marius is not in the walkway. Who are you looking for? A woman asks from beneath a blanket. This week, the days have hovered around 45 degrees Fahrenheit. I hope this woman has somewhere to go at night. Marius Dorbeck, he's usually right here. He's gone to the shelter on Fulham Road. Thank you. I tuck a 10-pound note into Elliot's hand. He places it in her upturned woolen hat. Elliot and I walk there, following the map on my phone. When we arrive, I explain to the man at the desk that I'm here to drop off a gift for one of the residents. Marius is close by, and he notices us. I wave and walk toward him into a large common room where football plays on a TV. You remember my son Elliot, I say. Hello there, Marius says in English. As before, he extends his hand for Elliot to shake. You're speaking your other language again, Elliot says to me. He knows what I do for work, but I suppose he hasn't heard me speak another language at length, except for Polish the day we took Marius to lunch. He thinks I only speak English and Polish, I tell Marius. Polish is your favorite, right? Marius winks. I want to learn too, Elliot says. Marius gets the gist of what my son means and, using his hands to bridge the language gap, tries to teach Elliot to say, my name is Elliot. I pass Marius the box of pastries from the market. This is amazing, thank you, he says, accepting them. Then I see him, on a blue sofa in front of the screen, Adam Birch. I recognize him from the newspapers. I need to leave. Let's go, Elliot. I start to guide him back the way we came. But wait, Marius says in Polish, let me introduce you to... Now he's calling to his friend. Adam, come here. I cannot smile and say hello and pretend that I did nothing wrong to this man. He's watching the football. Don't let me disturb you. I just wanted to drop the pastries off. We should go. I am walking toward the exit, but Elliot is no longer in front of me. He has squirmed away and is sitting on the floor inches from the screen. You won't get him back now until halftime, Marius laughs. I can't stay here. I can't speak to this man. But Adam is looking at me and offering his palm, and I have no choice but to take it. Hi, it's good to meet you, he says. I shake the hand of the man I almost imprisoned for life. Lovely to meet you. I wanted to thank you. Marius told me that you tried to help after his police interview. Oh, no, I didn't do anything. I appreciate it. He takes my dismissal for modesty. I hate that I have him fooled. It really is nice to meet you, but I have to go. My cheeks are red. I know they are. He can tell. There's a screaming neon sign on my forehead declaring what I did. Elliot, I call, but my son pretends not to hear. Let him watch the game, Mary says. Relax for a minute. Have one of these. He opens a box and holds it out for me to take. A pastry. No, I brought those for you. That's your son, Adam says, looking toward Elliot. Elliot, he's 6 3/4 if you ask him. Nice age. My daughter's about to turn 10. The little girl on the keyring, spectacles, and Arsenal football scarf. Have you had a chance to see her since you've been released? Inwardly, I wince at my choice of question. It's obvious he doesn't live with her, but I want to know if she's still in his life. Not yet, he says, but I'll be seeing her next week. She's down in Brighton. Oh, that's good. Really good. Your little man have any siblings? No, I only had the one. Me too, he grins. Earlier this week, Lydia emailed me with a brief note to say that Elliot's mother had her baby, a little girl. The child was immediately removed and taken into care and is now seeking permanent adoption, a sister for Elliot. His father is still in jail. There was a moment where I considered calling Lydia and saying I would take the girl, but I knew it was madness. I can't possibly care for 2 children on my own. Once the baby is placed with the family and is a little older, I'll get in touch and organize for Elliot to meet his half-sibling. They can write to one another and visit during school holidays. I'll make sure they're given every chance to have the best relationship possible. Well, thanks again for everything, Adam says. He heads back to the TV and takes a seat on the floor next to Elliot. To tell you the truth, Marius says, I need you to stay so I have someone to talk to while this is going on. I've never watched a football game in my life. I can't be in this room. I can't have a friendly conversation with these men and pretend I'm innocent. On the screen, there's a break in play, and Adam takes the opportunity to explain to Marius and me the rules and the state of both teams. Watch it for 5 minutes. 5 minutes, Adam says. You'll like it, I promise you. Then we've got to go, Elliot, I say. I wonder if Marius and Adam have been here in the shelter all week, and if this television plays the evening news. Sandra's inquest concluded on Thursday, and it's been on the news most nights. Police failed to arrest her real killer because there isn't one. The coroner has ruled her death an accident. The finding is that Sandra tripped and fell down the stairs in the heiress's house. She was likely rushing to go down to the basement floor where the staff bathroom is, the only bathroom in the house the heiress allowed her to use. Sandra tripped and knocked over some glassware during her fall, initially believed to have been signs of a struggle. The shadowy figure on the CCTV taken from the heiress's back garden is thought to be the same homeless man with the bag who appears on the CCTV footage taken from the street. Sandra had left the back door open and was making trips out to the garbage because she didn't work on Sundays and Monday was trash day. The homeless man with the bag was walking the neighborhood, as is his habit the nights before the recycling is collected, filling his bag with empty jars and glass bottles tossed into garbage cans. Then he takes them to one of the supermarkets that has a reversed vending machine, offering 10 pence each. So the neighbors were correct that they had seen this man loitering in the area on numerous occasions. They just couldn't tell the difference between him and Adam. To them, homeless people all blur into one. The man with the bag was released without charge, police having no appetite to arrest a homeless person for relieving wealthy residents of their garbage. Silence falls between Marius and me. His eyes drift toward the TV screen and mine follow. I wonder if Adam saw the news and translated for him. As for the heiress, she didn't kill Sandra, but she was lying about not hearing what was going on in the kitchen. That story about her being upstairs with headphones listening to music wasn't true. During the inquest, she was forced to admit she had heard glass breaking that day. She heard Sandra scream and fall. She assumed an intruder was in the house and was afraid for her own safety, so instead of going down to help her maid, she hid under the bed. After 2 hours of silence, she felt safe enough to emerge and walk down to the kitchen, saw Sandra's body, and called an ambulance. She told police the story about Spotify and the headphones because she was ashamed. Now there is talk of her being charged with giving police false information. A cheer goes up among the half a dozen men clustered around the TV. Somebody scored a goal. Elliot leaps to his feet and high-fives Adam. Without thinking, I take my phone from my back pocket and snap a picture. I can't have a photograph of my son with the man whose life I almost destroyed. I go to delete it, but it's kind of perfect. Both of Elliot's feet are off the ground, and his expression is entirely unself-conscious, just a little moment of pure joy. I attach it to an email, and send it to Richard with a camera emoji, football emoji, and 2 different types of smiles. Richard is still insisting that he doesn't want anything from my mother's estate. He remains keen for me to be the executor of his own will, and I made him promise me that it isn't because he's sick or has something which he isn't telling me. The sale of my mother's flat in Singapore went through yesterday. First, I will pay off the credit cards, and then I will think about Elliot's future. I'm also going to find a way to get money to Sandra's daughter, somehow. I'll contact one of Sandra's friends online. You may as well stay until halftime now, Adam says, turning away from the television to face me. Only 10 minutes to go. Yeah, says Elliot. Somehow half an hour has passed. I've been chatting to Marius and lost track of time. 2 pastries left, Marius says. Your last chance. He nudges the box towards me. You deserve it. My hand hovers for a second before I take one. When the first payment from Singapore hits my bank account, I leave 2 gifts at the homeless shelter, anonymously. An Arsenal season ticket for Adam and an M&S card for Marius. Elliot asks when we can go back to the homeless shelter and watch another football game. That's their home, love, I tell him. We can't really invite ourselves over to watch the telly, but I'll tell you what, pick a football game and I'll buy us tickets, yeah? He chooses a match at Emirates Stadium between Arsenal and a German team, FC Nuremberg. On our way to Emirates Stadium, Elliot asks me to teach him a few words in German so that he can call out to the Nuremberg football team from our seats. I've never said that I speak German. I did tell him I spoke more languages other than Polish, and now he assumes I can speak them all and is incredulous when he asks me to say something on one that I don't know. I keep a tight hold of his hand in the crush of the football fans entering the stadium. Danke schön, he says to himself over and over. As we file into the grounds, Elliot wants to stop for a photo every couple of minutes. He pokes out his tongue and I click. Yesterday I sent Doreen a similar photo of Elliot from inside the London Eye after we spoke on the phone. We talked about everything that had happened. I told her about Melly's arrest, and at least now Doreen feels safe. It turns out Melly had hired a dubious private investigator to follow Doreen for years. Recently, Melly had him install cameras in Doreen's house. We don't know if he would have hurt her had Melly made the order for him to do so. He's been arrested for stalking and a number of other offenses. I'm not sure if Doreen and I will speak again, not because she's still particularly angry with me, but you can't just pick up an old friendship where you left off after so many years, and I don't expect her complete forgiveness. She has moved on with her life and left social work in England behind. I told her that I wasn't interpreting anymore and wasn't sure if I'd go back to it. The money from my mother's estate is funding a career break. While Elliot is at school, I spend my days at a community center in northwest London that helps migrants settle into life in the UK. I help to translate the jargon on government websites and fill out forms and applications for people still learning English. There's a social element to it too. Some people have come to the UK alone, without a family or a set community to slot into. I didn't anticipate how nice it would be to step away from crime. Technically, it doesn't work. I'm a volunteer at a center. I'm a helper now, and I have my own stories and things to say, no longer only the human dictionary. A person with a name, not just the interpreter. Elliot and I take our seats, and the football game starts with a deafening roar from the crowd. He is so excited to be here, and it's a battle to keep him contained on his seat. Mom, did you see that? I have no idea what he's referring to, but I agree that it was amazing. I wonder if Adam is here, using his season ticket. We seem to be in a part of the stadium with a high concentration of German fans. I assume Elliot was supporting Arsenal, but he seems to like the German side. Danke schön, he's shouting to the field. Thank you very much. He's the world's most polite football hooligan. As the game progresses, a friendly German man seated in front of Elliot teaches him a few more words so that he can participate in the chanting coming from the German fans. I grin at the sight of Elliot taken under this man's wing and laugh at my son's attempts at the German accent. FC Nuremberg scores again. All around us, cheering German fans get to their feet, chanting their club song. Elliot pulls me up from my seat. It's easy enough to learn the words to this German song. Next to me, Elliot is singing his heart out. Oh, why not? I join him. Now in Amorite Stadium. It is halftime. I pry Elliot away from his new German friends and head to the upper section of the stand to buy some snacks. In the line, Elliot is telling me all about the game, but my attention wanders to a man in a nearby seat. He's been harassing a young steward for the whole 10 minutes we've been standing here, making lewd remarks and inappropriate comments in both English and German. The teenage girl has tried to ignore him with a tight smile, but I can tell she is very uncomfortable. Is he going to sexually harass her for the whole match? I focus on Elliot and try to turn the man's offensive German words to babble. We get our drinks and sit back down. Until the game restarts, Elliot decides to draw a picture of his favorite German player. I set him up with my notepad and a pencil, and he opens to a new page. I glance back up the stand and see the man still harassing the steward. She must have been told by her supervisor that's the spot where she's meant to be for the duration of her shift, and so she can't move away from him. Players jog back onto the field. There's a very bulky man seated in front of the harasser, arm draped over his girlfriend or wife. "Stay here," I tell Elliot. "I'll be back in 1 minute." I race up the aisle. "Excuse me," I say to the muscled man. "Yeah?" His accent is English. I'm a German speaker. I talk from the corner of my mouth. An interpreter, actually. I have to tell you, the gentleman behind you has been making sexually explicit comments about your partner since the beginning of the match. Disgusting, really. I thought you should know. I am back in my seat as the first punch makes contact. 2 male security guards push their way through the gathering crowd. The pervert is escorted out. I look to the steward, still standing in her designated spot. A smile shoots across her face, instantly quashed. The consummate professional. But I saw it. She enjoyed that. She resumed scanning the crowd with her chin higher. Oblivious to the action, Elliot has drawn his German player with one oversized foot, the striker. "That's absolutely lovely, Elliot." I hold out the paper, admiring. "What about his other foot? You've only given him one." He hands me the pencil and I sketch it in. "There," I say, "now they're even." And that's the end of The Interpreter. Thank you so much for coming on this journey with me, our first book together. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so that we can go on more adventures. If you have any recommendations of books you'd like for me to read, drop them in the comments. And otherwise, you guys have a great day. Catch you on the flip side.